Hi, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, uncles and aunties, teachers, and everybody in between. Welcome to this channel if it is your first time. If it is not your first time, a special welcome back to you. Happy to have you here with us today. Today we'll be looking at 100 practice questions from the PEP Ability Test. Of course, by virtue of the fact that it's 100 practice questions and I will be working them out, it's going to be a longer video than you normally come across on this channel. But depending on the time that you are watching it, you should be able to speed up some sections if it is that you can look at a question and answer that question. Although there is merit in watching how I work it out, because you might learn something about my approach to working these things out. All right. So, another thing that I want to mention is that I prepared this presentation at the beginning of this year because I intended to record a video for the last set of assessment, but I didn't have the time to do it. So these questions are near new to me, meaning that I don't remember most of them. So it will actually be good for you because you will get to see somebody else work these questions out from scratch, and I will share my thought process with you, and hopefully you can learn something from me today. All right. What do I want from you? I want you to practice along. I want you to make sure that you are comfortable, make sure that you are soaking in this information, because in the exam you might not get the exact questions, but you can learn something by how I work these things out. So I want you to soak in the information, and I would love for you to give me some feedback. I'm not sure yet if the comment section will be open, but if it's not open, then I'll leave in the description how you can give me feedback. All right, so we're going to jump right into it right now. Let us look at the first question. Question 1. Which pair of words do not have similar meaning? All right. Whenever you come across a problem like this, it's very important for you to read carefully, because not reading carefully can be the difference between you getting the correct answer and getting the answer incorrectly. Right? Now, the key part of this question is this: which pair of words do not have similar meaning. So you know what this question is asking. I'm sure you've come across antonyms. You're looking for the pair of antonym, the pair of words that mean completely the opposite of each other. So let us go through the pairs here. We have color and shade, we have sip and drink, we have contented and happy, and we have enter and exit. I'm sure everybody knows what colors are, so I will assume that most people will recognize that this pair of word is a pair of synonym. I also will assume that most people know that sip and drink is another pair of synonym, which are words that have similar meaning. And look at this one. Look at C. C is contented and happy. Now, some children might not be familiar with this one, with the word contented, but you know that happy is a feel good feeling. So, and contented also means to be happy, to feel good. But let's say that you're a child and you do not know that this is what this word means, right? That contented means to be happy. Let's look at D. Enter and exit. Now these are likely words that you have come across before, or you've heard before, and usually it's in relation to a building or a room, right? When you are entering a room, what does it mean? It means that you're going in, right? But if you are exiting a room, what does it mean? It means that you're going out. So the answer to question 1, the pair of words that do not have the same meaning, is enter and exit. Let's move on to the next question, question 2. All right, so this one says, which of the following pair of words is the odd one out? Okay. All right, so this question is a similar type of question to the first question, but it's asking us something. It's asking us to identify something different. So it says which pair of words is the odd one out. So which pair of words is different? So how would I approach this question? Well, you have to look for the pattern in the pairs of words and then identify which one of them is different from the others. All right, so let us look at A. So we have affection and love. This is a pair of synonym. Most people know that if you have affection for somebody, you love them. So this is a pair of synonym. Let's look at B. B, scarcity and abundance. All right, so this is a pair of antonym. Scarcity and abundance. Scarcity means when you have very few of something, and abundance means that there is a lot of something. So, all right, so here is something interesting, guys. We are looking for the odd pair of word, the odd one out. So it means then that we're looking for the pair of word that is different. In this, the way these answers or the multiple choice options are organized, we can tell right away that the answer has to be either A or B. Why? Because the pattern in A, the relationship between the pair of words in A, is different from the relationship between the pair of words in B. This is synonym. This is a pair of synonym, and this is a pair of antonym, right? So the answer to this question has to be either A or B. So in going through, we are looking for either we just need another pair of antonym or another pair of synonym to know what our correct answer is. So let's look at C. C says sharp and blunt. This is a pair of antonym. When you think of sharp, you think of a knife. It cuts through something very easily. When you think and a blunt knife, the edge of a blunt knife is not sharp. But I can see if a lot of people are not familiar with this definition of the word blunt. So let's skip over this one. Just for now, let's say we don't know what blunt means and we don't know that this is a pair of antonym. And let's go to D. Let's see if we know what D is, what the relationship between the pair of words at D is, and then we will know what our answer is, right? D, false and true. This is clearly a pair of antonym. They have opposite meaning, right? It's either something is false or it is true. They mean totally opposite. So it means then by default that this is a pair of antonym. And so the answer to our question, the odd one out, is A, the pair of synonym, affection and love. And something too, guys, if say we weren't familiar with the word blunt, now we have an idea. Now we know that blunt is the opposite of sharp. So if you were to encounter this word again anywhere in the assessment or in the exam, whatever it is, you know what it means. So there's no need for it to confuse you again. All right, so you learned something if you didn't know what this word means. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Question 3. What is 4 times 63 divided by 3? Okay, so this is a fairly simple mathematical question. So we'll work it out. 4, let's write it out in numbers. 4 times 63 divided by 3. All right, so we know how to do math. I'm gonna multiply this part, do this part first. I'm gonna put the 63 on top. 63 times 4 is the same as 4 times 63. 3 4s or 4 3s is 12, right? We carry 1. 4 6s 24 and 1 25. So this is 25. So now we have the answer to the first part. So now we have to divide this by 3. Let's go over here. So 252 divided by 3. All right, so we're gonna do long division. All right, guys, so we know most of us are familiar or we know how to do division or long division. This is the divisor. This is the divisor, and this is what we're dividing up. This is the dividend. So how do we do it? We know that if the first digit in the dividend is smaller than the divisor, we look at the digit beside it also. So in this case, 3, the divisor, is larger than the first digit in the dividend, which is a 2. So we take the number beside it, which is 25, which makes the part that we're focusing on 25. So we go 3 into 25. That would be how many times? 3 into 25 is 8. 8 3s is 24. Do a subtraction. The difference is 1. Then we carry down the rest of the dividend, and then we do the same thing. So we have 3 into 12 is 4. So here is our answer. So for this problem, all we did, we wrote out the problem in numbers. We multiplied 4 times 63. We did the first part first, and then we divided it by 3 over here. And so our answer is 84. This one is fairly straightforward. Once you understand how to do multiplication and long division, you're good to go with this question. So let us move on to the next question. Question 4. It takes 2 minutes to boil a single egg. How many minutes will it take to boil 6 eggs? All right, so this is another multiplication question, right? The information that we have is that it takes 2 minutes to boil a single egg, right? So what is the math here? 2 minutes times 1, a single egg, right? How many times will it take to boil 6 eggs? So we know that it takes 2 minutes to boil a single egg. So we multiply that by 6 eggs, and what do we get? 12, right? The interesting thing about a question like this, however, is that the question is actually open to interpretation. Let me explain why I say that. 6 eggs can be boiled at one time, right? So how long will it take to boil 6 eggs at the same time? If you are boiling 6 eggs at the same time, it's going to be one batch of egg, and so it will take the same 2 minutes. So we have 2 minutes as an option here, we have 12 minutes as an option here. So what do we do in a situation like this? Well, for me, in a situation like this, I would choose whichever answer based on how I interpreted the question and based on how I worked it out. I would choose my best answer, and I would put a little note beside it. So I would say something like 12 minutes if eggs are boiled one at a time. I'm having struggle writing with this. So if eggs boil one by one, right? By one. And conversely, if I choose 2 minutes, then I say boil eggs at the same time, right? Nobody can give you an incorrect answer in a case like that. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 5. If the 17th of the month comes 3 days after Monday, what day of the week precedes the 30th of the month? Alright, so I have a video up for this particular question where I worked it out. I don't maybe it's about a 2 or 3 minutes video, so I will try to go through it quickly here. If you don't understand, then you can look at that video because I break it down in much detail. All right, so let's go through this quickly. You have the 17th of the month. If it comes on a, you know what? Let me just draw the calendar. Oops, that wasn't done well. Let me try and fix it up. Okay. Alright, so we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Alright, so we're working it out here. So the 17th of the month comes 3 days after Monday. 3 days after Monday is when? So this is Monday. So the 17th would be 3 days, 1, 2, 3. So the 17th would come on a Thursday, right? So the 17th of the month comes 3 days after Monday. What day of the week precedes the 30th of the month? The word precede, guys, mean come before, right? So in a case, it is asking which day comes before the 30th of the month, or which day is the 29th of the month. That's what the question is asking. So we can, you add 7 to 17 and you get 24. So the 24th of the month would be on a Thursday. The 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. So the 29th of the month will be on a Tuesday, and the 29th of the month comes before the 30th of the month, right? As I said, guys, if you need a bit more clarity, you can always go and visit that other video that I posted some time ago, explaining this particular question. And I did that because I did a short video with 10 PEP questions, and this was among the questions in that video. And unfortunately, a lot of people struggle to get the right answer. Most people answered Wednesday, but the answer is actually Tuesday. And you will see that if you don't see it here, or we get from Tuesday, or we got Tuesday to be our answer, then visit our video. It will clarify it for you. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the next question. Question 6. Fill in the missing number to complete the series. All right, so for questions like these, we are looking for a pattern, right? We're looking for a pattern. So we're trying to identify a pattern which will help us to know what is to come on the blank line or in the blank spaces. So let's see if we can figure this thing out. So we have 1 4 2 5 3 6. All right, so every other number, this one is fairly easy, because so every other number we're going up by 1, right? So we have 1 2 3. So what should come next? That's the next space, so that would be 4. And from here, what will come next? That would be 5, right? So this is fairly simple. So it's 1 4 2 5 3 6 4 7 5, and if this add another blank line, what would go there? 8. But it doesn't. So the answer to our question is 4 and 5. So that would be B. Right. Let's move on. Question 7. If 7 girls write 7 pages in 7 minutes. Wow. If 7 girls write 7 pages in 7 minutes, how many minutes can one girl write 1 page? Okay. All right. So what is happening here? This is a mathematical question, and we're multiplying here. So we have 7 girls, and they write 7 girls. They wrote 7 pages in 7 minutes, right? Okay. How many minutes does it take one girl to write 1 page? All right, so here's my thinking, and you can think this out too, guys. If 7 girls are writing 7 pages at the same time, right, and it takes them 7 minutes to complete it, what does that mean? So you see, this is another trick question, because you realize where my brain went, but there's another spin to this question. Because if 7 girls are writing the page one after the other, and the 7 pages take 7 minutes to complete being written, right? The 7 pages take 7 minutes to be written. If it takes 7 girls 7 minutes to write 7 pages, okay, so it takes them 7 minutes to write 7 pages. How long will it take one girl to write 1 page? So there are two. This is where my line of why I'm a little bit confused. Right? As I said, these questions are near new to me because when I wrote them, when I prepared this presentation months ago, I haven't revisited it. So this is good for you because I know that a lot of you PEP students are frustrated, with some of the things that you're asked to do because it can be very confusing, one, and it can be very challenging. This particular question is not challenging, but it's a bit confusing because there are two different ways to look at it. So the first way to look at it is this. If all 7 girls were writing the 7 pages at the same time, it means that it took one girl 7 minutes to write. But if they were writing it one after the other, it would mean that it's taking them 1 minute to write. And we have both possible answers, right? As the options in this particular example. So what would be our answer? It would take, if the 7 girls are writing it one after the other, then the first one would write for 1 minute, the next one would stop writing at 2 minutes, which would be another minute for that second one, and so on and so forth. But if all 7 of them were writing the pages at the same time and all of them finish at the same time, then it would be, you assume that it takes them 7 minutes to write that one page. So again, we encountered a previous question where there were 2 possible answers based on the interpretation. So in this case, again, you'd have to do the explanation. I would do the explanation. So I would select whichever answer I want and I would explain why I selected that answer, So again, as a recommendation, if you encounter something like this, even in your other practice exams that you will be doing leading up to your actual preparation for your PEP exam, put an explanation there, and that will force the person who prepared that question to think a little bit harder. I didn't prepare these questions, but the fact that there can be more than one interpretation to it, it showed that the person who prepared it didn't think of all the possible ways to solve that problem. All right, guys, so we're going to move on from this one now. Question 8. It took 120 days for 4 men to build a wall. How many days would it take 1 man to build the same wall? I remember this question from the short video that I prepared with those 10 PEP questions. And if my memory serves me correctly, a lot of friends struggled to get the correct answer. So I'm gonna just, it's a fairly simple math if you think it out properly. So if after reading this question you're a bit confused, let me just help you think it out right now. If it takes 4 men to build a wall in 120 days, how long would it take just 1 man to build that same wall? So if you think it out, you'll realize that it would take the 1 man longer than it would take 4 men to do it. So what is the math here? Again, it's a mathematical problem. So if it's going to take 1 man. If it took 4 men 120 days, then it's going to take 1 man, you can say 4 times as long. So the problem that we have here is 120 times 4, right? And that is 480, right? Yeah, so that is the answer, 480 days, right? Don't look at this answer. This answer is there to set a trap for you, so you need to pay attention, right? And make sure that you select the correct answer. Okay, guys, so let's move on. Question 9. If Monday is to February, then Saturday is to. If Monday is to February, then Saturday is to. So this question is asking. This question is asking us to like what do we call it? Look for a pattern again, or look for an association of terms. So in looking at Monday, for example, we know that Monday is the second day of the week. Monday is the second day of the week. February is the second month of the year, right? So what would the answer to this question be? Saturday would be the last day of the week, right? Saturday is the last day of the week. So the answer I would say that Saturday is to December, right? And December is an option. Yeah, so Saturday is the last day of the week. So that is what I would. That's the relationship or the association that I see between Monday and February. Although Saturday is the 7th. I said July here, and that is why I'm thinking a little bit more. Saturday is the 7th day of the week, but I wouldn't choose July as an option, because if I were to match Saturday to July, then what would that make of the rest of months in the year? You know what I mean? So I think the best answer in this situation would be December, right? The second Monday being the second day of the week, Saturday being the last day of the week. So I would stick to December in this situation. If you're a lawyer, if you're good at that, then you could choose July and then explain. And I don't think you could be wrong if you explain that July is the 7th month of the year, and so it is also a fitting option. So again, guys, look out for questions like these. But I think in this case, December is the best answer. All right, so let's move on. Question 10. Sarah had 18 mangoes and her cousin Betty had 8. How many mangoes would Sarah give to Betty in order for both girls to have the same number of mangoes? Okay, so this is another mathematical question. How do we approach this? There are several different ways to get the answer to this question. The easiest way, the first thing that came to my mind, is to focus on the 10 here, because Sarah had 10 more mangoes than Betty, right? So if this 10 was taken from the 18, Sarah would have 8 mangoes. Betty would have 8. So how many mangoes would Sarah give to Betty in order for both girls to have the same amount of mango? I would just divide the 10 by 2, and that would give me 5. So both girls would end up with 5 plus 8 is what? 13. Both girls would end up with 13 mangoes. So this one is fairly easy. Alright, so let's move on. Question 11. 4 pens. Oh, before we move on, guys, I suppose you are a bit tired by now. We've been at it for some while now, and we just gone question 10. Can you imagine? But if you're liking it so far, please share it with your friends. Send it to your teacher so that she can share it with her students. And teachers, if you're here, share this with your students. If any of my answers are incorrect, please light up the comments. I want to know. But please share and like and all that fancy stuff. All right, so let us move on to the next question. Question 11. 4 pens and 1 pencil cost $180. Okay. 1 pencil costs $20. How much does 1 pen cost? All right, this is another. There are a number of mathematical questions here. So it really, but they are written out in words, so it's for you to interpret the statements and to write out the problem in numbers and then solve it. Okay, so we have 4 pens and 1 pencil, and it costs $180. So, and then it gives us the answer. Then it gives us the cost for the 1 pencil, which is $20. So we want to take off the cost of the pencil first and foremost, so that we can know how much, so that we can arrive at the figure for the 4 pens before we can then move to the next step. So 180 minus 20, that's 160. So it means that 4 pens cost $160. So 4 pens cost $160. $160 is an option there, but the question is not asking what is the cost for 4 pens. It's asking us for the cost of 1 pen. So what do we have to do? We have to divide this 160 by 4. 160 by 4. What's that equal to? 4 divided by 16 is how much, guys? We know math, right? 4 is 16. 4 is 16. So 4 divided by 160 is 40. So 1 pen costs 40. All right, so let's go to the next question. Oh, this is another math question. Okay, so this is saying if 12 times 12 times 12 is, so I guess this word doesn't belong here. Or does it? It could belong there. All right, so let's ignore that for now. So we have this problem here. This is more like a what do we call it again? Equation. An equation. So we have 12 times 12 times 12 over this side. What is that equal to? That is equal to 4 times something. 4 times something. So we have 12, the cube of 12. The cube of, 12 cube is equal to, okay, you know what? Let me not confuse you guys with this. Let me cross that out. We have 12 by 12. 12 times 12 is 144, and if we times that by another 12, then we have what? This has to be what we get in the long run, right? So that is a clue to speed us up. I'm feeling kind of tired now, guys. All right, so 12 times 12 times 12, that's 1728. You can always verify that, guys. So 12 times 12, we know 12 is 144, and we times that by another 12. So this is what we get. But it's not asking us what is 12 by 12 by 12. It's asking us to find out 12 by 12 by 12 is equal to 4 by what. So now that we know the answer to this part. The answer to this part is 1728. All you have to do now is divide this by 4. right? 4 into that is 4 into 17. Guys, remember we did a long division before. You remember the principle. When the divisor is greater than the first digit in the dividend, we focus on the first two digits, right? So we have 4 times 4, that's 16. We have 1 remaining, and so we'll bring down the 12. We'll bring down the 2. This becomes 12, and so we have 4 into 12. That goes 3. 3 times 3 fours is 12. And 8. 4 into 8 is 2. Alright, and we know how it goes. Do the 8. 0. There's no remainder. So the answer, 4 divided by 1728 is 432, which is this. So this is our answer, guys. 12 times 12 times 12 is equal to 4 times this, because 4 times this, 432, gives us back the answer, which is 1728. I hope that is clear. If it's not clear, just rewatch it, because or if it's not clear to you, just work out the math and you will get it. Okay guys, I really hope that is clear. I'm sorry for this mess right here. All right, so let's move on, guys. Question 13. A certain movie is 90 minutes long. Okay, it started at 8 p.m. During the movie, there were 3 commercial breaks, 2 lasting 5 minutes and 1 lasting 8 minutes. What time did the movie end? Okay, so here again, this is another math question, but it's in the form of time. All right, so if we have a movie starting at 8 p.m. and it is 90 minutes long, right? So that means that the movie should naturally end at 9:30, right? 9:30. But during the movie, there were 3 commercial breaks. So these commercial breaks will extend the duration of the movie. So we have to add these commercial breaks to our time, and then we'll arrive at the time that the movie actually ends. Okay? So we're at 9:30 naturally with this movie. So there were 3 commercial breaks. So 2 commercial breaks lasted for 5 minutes. 2 lasting 5 minutes each. So that would take us to 9:40, wouldn't it? Because this would be plus 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And that is again, guys, providing that it lasted for 1 minute, for 5 minutes each. So 9:40, we're at 9:40, and 1 lasted for 8 minutes. So we'll plus add 8 minutes. So that's 9:48. So I see that here. Okay guys, so let's look at question 14. Suppose you count from 1 to 100 and clap your hands when you count either a multiple of 3 or a number that is not a multiple of 3 but ends in 3. How many times will you clap your hands? Alright guys, so this one, when you look at it, it sounds it might seem to be difficult, but it really isn't difficult. Alright, the first thing I would do in this situation is look at the options here to kind of gauge, to know what is there, so that when I reach the amount, I have a fair enough idea as to which one will be the answer. So let me break it down. So we're looking for 2 things in this particular problem. we're looking for, or we are being asked to count numbers that are multiples of 3, and we're being asked to count numbers that are not multiples of 3 but that ends in 3, and we're going to add those, and that is how many times we should clap our hands, right? So what are multiples of 3? Well, we know that a multiple of a number is a number that can be divided by that number without leaving a remainder. So for example, the first thing that should come to your mind is the times table. 3 ones, 3 ones 3, 3 2 6, 3 3s 9, 3 4s 12, 3 5s 15, and so on and so forth. So the timetables is in multiples. So for whichever number, it's in multiples. So in the first instance, we know that the timetable that we studied, it goes up to 3 times 12, right? 3 times 12, and we got 36 for that. 3 12 is 36. So there are at least 12 multiples of 3 up to the point of 36, right? So right away we know that this answer is out. That can't be the answer, because this is with a clap of hands 12 times, at least 12 times already. But remember too that the part of the question is that we look for numbers that are not multiples of 3 but ends with 3. So we have numbers like 13 and 20. We have numbers like 13 that ends with 3. That is not a multiple of 3, because remember, a multiple is a number becomes a multiple of another number when it can be divided without leaving a remainder. That's the basic idea of what a multiple is. And we know that 3 4s is 12 and 3 5 is 15. So 13 is not a multiple of 3, because if you divide 13 by 3, you will have a remainder of 1 left over. So it would be 4 and a remainder of 1 left over. So we'd have to add 13. So 13 to 12. So we have 13 as a number that is not a multiple of 3, but it would have to be added to this total. And then we have 23. 23 is also not a multiple of 3, because 3 7s 21, 3 8s 24. So 23 divided by 3 would leave a remainder of 2. It would equal 7, leave a remainder of 2. So that means that we have another number ending with 3 that is not a multiple of 2, that is not a multiple of 3, before we even reach 36. And then the last number that ends with 3 before we reach 36 is the number 33. But we know that 33 is a multiple of 3. So up to the point of 36, we have 14 already. 14, because we have 12 multiples of 3, and we have number 13 that is not a multiple of 3, and we have number 23 that is not a multiple of 3. And we would have clapped our hands at these times as well. So we clap our hands 14 times already. Okay, and then now, so then we think of the other multiples of 3 leading up to 100. Remember, we're going all the way to 100. 100. So how many, let's see how many more we can count before we eliminate the other options leading up to the correct answer. So we have 36, then we have 39. So we have 39. We have 40. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do the tally thing. Right? So we have 39. Then we have 42, 45, 48, 51. Okay, so up to the point of 51 we got so these are multiples. Let me do this. Multiples, oh gosh, multiples, and let's do not multiples. Let me use the math sign. Not multiples. I did the same thing. That should be a L, guys, sorry. Not multiples, right? So let's see if we have any number in there that ends with a 3 but is not a multiple. So between 36 and 51, because that's where we are now, we're at 51 now, we have 5 multiples of 3. The only number that ends with 3 between 36 and 51 is 43, right? And 43 is not a multiple of 3. So we have one number that is not a multiple of 3, that at which point we would also have to clap our hands. So we have 6 more to our 14 plus 6. So we reach 20 now, right? I hope you guys are following. I'm so sorry if my little sheet is confusing, but I really want to make sure that I am capturing everything that I'm saying and that you can follow. So if you're confused, just go back a little bit and follow my train of thought and my explanation. All right, so we're at 20 now. We clap our hands 20 times already. So that means this is also incorrect. All right, so let's move to the next block. So we're at 53. We have 51. So the next multiple of 3 is 54. Then we have 57. Then we have 60. Then we have 63. Then we have 66. Right? That's a 66. I'm going to run out of space. All right, so let's see if there are any numbers ending with 3 that are not, or that is not a multiple of 3. So we're at where we started. We started at 51, so we went to 54. So 53 is not a multiple of 3, but we'll clap our hands right there as well because it ends with 3. Is there any more? We had 63, but 63 is a multiple of 3. So we have 6 more that we're adding to this total. So we're at 20. So we're adding 6 to this. So we're at 26 now. We can't eliminate this as yet technically, but think about it, guys. By virtue of the fact that we are just at 66 and the other option here is 29, we're only 3 away from reaching 29. So the chances of 29 being the correct answer is just not there. So we can eliminate this and we would have this as the answer. But let us say that 40 was there. Suppose, let's say 40 was there. Suppose 40 was there. If 40 was there, we'd have to continue doing what we're doing, right? We'll just have to keep finding the multiples of 3s and finding the numbers that are not multiples of 3s and adding those to where we are now. So we'd have 34 more numbers to go through. All right, guys, so I won't go through all of them here. If my explanation of this one isn't so clear, please give me your feedback and I can do a separate video on that, just a little short video on it. But yes, I know this is a long way to work out this particular problem, there are ways to know the multiples of a number less than 100, but I wouldn't recommend that you go and study that. For me, it's a waste of brain space. If I were going through this, if I were working this out in one go and not explaining it probably would take me less than 2 minutes to do, and it probably can take you the same time. So don't worry about it. All you need to understand is how to identify the multiple of a number in this particular problem, and then to understand the other part of the problem, which is to identify the number that is not a multiple but that ends with 3. You clap your hands all those times, you add all those numbers up, and you arrive at your answer. Okay, guys? So we're going to move on now to the next question. Question 15 to 19. Okay, so in this, all right, let me read what is there. In each of the following questions, there is a number series. Okay, in this series, the numbers are changing in a specific order. If they continue to change in the same way, what will be the next term? All right, so we did this before, guys. We did an example of this before, so this one shouldn't be easy. These 4 questions, 4 or 5 questions, shouldn't take us a long time to go through. So let's look at them quickly. So we have 3, 5, 7, 9. What's the difference? This is counting by 2, right? So the difference between this is 2. The difference between that is 2. The difference between that is 2. So the next number in the series is the difference between the 9 and that number. So the answer is this. Right? We see the pattern easily. Right? So it is like with every other space, every other number is what is being shown here. Okay, so let's go to the next one. All right, so this one, so let's look at the pattern. We have 4, 6, 9, 13. Let me see. The difference between 4 and 6 is 2, right? So they skipped out 5. The difference between 6 and 9 is 3. So 5 is skipped out. 7 and 8 are left out here. So what's the next part? The difference between 9 and 13 is how much? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the difference between 9 and 13 is 4, right? So this, let me have to go down, guys. Bear with me, please. So we have 10, 11, and 12. So 3 numbers. Okay, so between the first 2 numbers, just one number is missing, 5, right? Between the second pair number, 2 numbers are missing, and between the third and the fourth number, 3 numbers are missing. So for the next one in the series, 4 numbers should be missing, right? So we're skipping over 14 again, guys, sorry. So we're skipping over 14, we're skipping over 15, we're skipping over 16, and we're skipping over 17, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be 18. The difference between 18 and 13 is 5. So there are two. I solved this series 2 ways. So I looked at the numbers that are being skipped out on the bottom side, and then I looked at the top. We look at the difference between the numbers. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is our answer. So let's go to the next one. Let's see if we can identify the pattern there as well. Okay, so we have 4, we have 9, we have 16, and then we have 25. What is the next number in this series? So 4, the difference between, I prefer, whenever I'm doing these pattern things, I prefer to check the difference between the numbers, because it's easier. I think it's easier to identify the pattern that way, to identify the change from one number to another number. So I normally just resort to doing a subtraction between the numbers. So in the first instance, we have the difference there is 5. The second instance, 16 minus 9, the difference there is 7. In the other instance, 25 minus 16, the difference there is what? 25 minus 16, the difference there is 9. So what is the pattern? We have 5, 7, 9. So the next one in line would be 11, right? 11 would be 11. So the difference between what number and the 25 give you 11? Surely is not 32. Alright, so let's just add it. Let's add 25 and 11. That's 36. 36. So the difference between 36 and 25 is 11. So the answer to this one is 36. Alright, I hope that is clear. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so what do we have here? We have 0, we have 7, we have 63. Alright, so first of all, let me get comfortable. First of all, we realize that there has to be some sort of multiplication in this pattern. Why? Because the numbers are increasing dramatically. The numbers are increasing dramatically. So our goal is to figure out the change from one number to the next. What is the change? Because there's clearly multiplication in this series, but there is more, because there has to be some addition as well. The reason why I say that is because the pattern starts at 0. How do you move from 0 to 7? There are probably several ways to get there. So really and truly, we have to, in a situation like this, we have to what we call wing it, and by trial and error we identify the correct answer. And look at these options. The options are so close. We have 124, 125, and 126. So this we have to figure this out to the T to make sure that we have the correct answer. All right, so what can we do in this situation? Yeah, how do we get from here to here, and then from here to here? There has to be multiplication in this particular series. Okay, so let us try and figure it out. All right, so let me try and figure out what are the possible ways of getting from 0 to 7. Can we get from 0 to 7? 0 to 7. 2 times 3 plus 1. That's a way to get from 0 to 1. 2, 3, 6. But how would this... Oh, okay, an idea just came in my head. So another way that this could be 0, you know, is if this was say for example 1 times oh wait, 1 to the power of 1 minus 1, because 1 times 1 is 1 minus 1 is 0. Let me try that. 2 to the power of 2 minus 1 is 2 times 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, so that isn't correct. Okay, you know what, you guys, let me see, let me give this one a little bit more thought. That's one way I was figuring it out, but I'm thinking now that there is subtraction in this as well, multiplication and subtraction. So something minus something, something multiplied by something minus something. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, how can we arrive from 0? No, alright, so I'm seeing something. I am going to try something else. To move from 0 to 7, let me see, 1 times 1 times 1, that is the same as the cube of 1, minus 1, that is equal to 0. Let me try something else. 2 times 2 times 2 minus 1. 2 is 4, 2 4 is 8, minus 1, that is equal to 7. Okay, so we're warming up right now. So let me try 3. 3 times 3 times 3 minus 1 is equal to 3 is 9, 27 minus 1, 26. It's equal to 26. Alright, I think we got it, guys. I think we've got it. So over here I was doing the square, but it really and truly should be cube. The cube of each number minus 1. So this is the same as the cube of 1 minus 1, then the cube of 2 minus 1 equals 0 equals 7. This is the same as the cube of 3 minus 1 equals 26. So what is the next thing? We're looking for 63. So we have 4 times 4 times 4 minus 1 equal 4 times 4, 4 4s, what's that now, 16, 4 4 16, and then 16 times 4, that would be 64. 16 times 4 is 64 minus 1, 63. So we do have it. So this is the same as the cube of 4. I hope nothing like this comes on the exam, because this is difficult. This is very difficult. This is difficult. So what is the next series in the pattern? It would be the cube of 5 minus 1. Cube of 5 minus 1. That seems more like this one. Yeah, the cube of 5 is 125, and if we minus subtracting 1, and this is the answer. But look how close the answers are. So this is the answer. So the answer is 5 in the pattern. 5 times 5 times 5 minus 1 equal the cube of 5 minus 1 equal 124. This is challenging, guys. This is a challenging problem, and it will, well, I don't know about you, but it took me some time to figure out, and trial and error over here. So over here so wrong. But this process, it helps. It helped me to understand or try and figure out the movement from place to place. And as I said, when I saw 0, I know I start to figure that there has to be a subtraction in there, and then when I saw the change in the numbers, the numbers increased dramatically. They increased significantly. So I knew that multiplication wasn't it, and I figured that it included subtraction as well. Yes, because when I saw the 0, my initial thought was that it was probably multiplied by 0. But then when I said, oh, if something is being multiplied by 0 and the next one is being multiplied by 1 and then by 2, the change wouldn't be so significant. So then I figured that it had to include a subtraction. And then I tried with that one. That one didn't work, so I tried with the cube, and then I saw where that worked. So let's move on. We can move on now. This should have been the cube of 1. Alright, so let's move on. So what do we have here? We have, okay, this seems more manageable. Let me change back my pen. Yeah, that one was so hard I had to change my pen, guys. So we have 5, we have 8, we have 13, we have 21. So what is the next? What's the next term? The difference between that and that is 3. The difference between this and this is 5, right? Yeah, 5. The difference between 13 and 21 is 8. What am I seeing here? What is going on here? So let us fill in the blanks underneath as well. What's missing under here? So 6 and 7 is missing, or are missing. 6, 7, 8. Right here. Let me change the ink. Right here we have 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are missing. Let me do blue. Let's go here. Let's see. Again, guys, we're looking for a pattern. So this isn't necessary really, but it's a way of figuring out or identifying a pattern. So I'm showing all of this. I'm trying to work it out the long way so that you, even if you know a short way, you can, be exposed to different ways of doing things, because sometimes this way of doing it might be the quickest way or the best way to solve a problem quickly. All right, so what's missing here? We have 14, 15, oh, this is a lot, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, 20. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers are missing in between them. But they when you subtract the second number or the following number from when you subtract the first appearing number from the number that follows it, these are the differences up top. So we have 358. Honestly, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing any particular pattern down here, but the relationship that I can see between what's going on up here is that 3 plus 5 equals 8. So if I apply that principle, I would add 5 plus 8 to figure out the difference between the next term to complete this pattern. So we have 3, we have 5, then 8. That plus that is, this plus this is this. So this plus this is 13. So let me see if I can find an answer that gives me the difference of itself and 21. So I'm just going to add these two. So we have 34. And 34 is there. So I would select 34 to be my answer because it's the only pattern that I can observe in what is here, right? So again, doing this thing down here didn't assist. It didn't assist, or maybe it didn't know. So we have, let me see, 1, 2. We have 2 numbers missing here. 2 numbers that were missing. We have 4 that was missing here. How many here? 2, 4, 6, 7. This is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 numbers that are missing right here. Yeah, I don't see the pattern down here, but up here I saw a pattern here, right? So we have 3 spaces, a difference of 3 here, a difference of 5 here, and a difference of 8 here. When I add the 3 and the 5, I get the 8. So when I added, using the same principle and added the 5 to the 8, got 13. The difference between 21 and that number is 34, or 21 plus 13 gives me 24, which makes 13 the difference between 34 and 21. So this is my answer, right? And this is a pattern, so I can defend it. I hope you are able to see clearly and understand clearly how I arrived at this answer. Alright guys, we've been going at this for a very long time now and I am tired, but let me see if I can, how quickly I can get through the rest of them. Okay, so questions 24 to 25. Again, we have a series, a mini series, so let's see if we can get through these quickly. Each of the following questions, 20 to 24, consists of a pair of words bearing a relationship among these. From amongst the options, pick the pair that best illustrate a similar relationship. Okay, that should be interesting and fun. So we have glove and we have and. What are the options? We see neck and collar. We see socks and feet, shirt and tie, coat and pocket. Okay, all right, so what are we looking for? The question is asking us to pick the pair. Well, it's not really a question, but we're being asked to pick the pair of words that best illustrate a similar relationship. All of these have some sort of relationship, but which one of them have the closest relationship between the relationship between these two? The glove and hand. Collar is something that is worn around the neck, or it's on your shirt, however you look at it. Shirt, a tie goes with a shirt, and a pocket is part of a coat, right? You put your hands in your coat pocket, but your hand goes into your gloves, right? Just as how your feet goes into your socks. You put on your socks much the same way that you put on your gloves. So I would say this relationship best illustrates this relationship. Let's look at another one. Okay, so we have lawyer and we have court, we have chemist and laboratory, businessman, office, laborer, factory, athlete, Olympics. Okay, so all right, yes, I spot the answer. I think I spot the answer. Okay, so again, all of these are related. You know, a chemist works in a lab, a businessman has an office that he works at, a laborer works in a factory, and Olympians, they go to the Olympics and they work there, quote unquote work. And so I think the closest relationship is D. Why do I say D? Because the lawyer doesn't the court, let's say the court is the lawyer's stage, you know, where they prepare at their offices or wherever, and they go and they perform at the court, right? Much a similar way where the athlete doesn't train at the Olympics. No, they train before time, they prepare for the Olympics, and then they go there to perform. So this is the closest relationship between lawyer and court. Let's look at the other one. Letter and book. Letter and word, sorry. You see, I'm so tired. I read it this way. All right, letter and word. First, letters. Words are made up of letters. So right away, I say that this is the answer. Because books are made up of pages, right? Factories, products are made in factories, yes. And people go to clubs, yes. And homework are given at school. So you can see the relationship or the association of these other three pairs, but words are made up of letter, just as books are made up of pages. All right, let's look at the other pair of words. Lively, dull. Dull is the opposite of lively. Let's look at the words that are opposite in meaning. Employed, jobless. This is opposite. Flowers and bud. This is not opposite in meaning. These are both parts of a plant, so they're not antonyms. They're not opposite in meaning. This is not opposite in meaning either. There's a relationship between factory and work, which is labor, work being done. And then happy and gay means the same thing. So the one that has that best illustrate the similar relationship in this situation would be employed and jobless. Why? Because lively is the opposite of dull, just as employed is the opposite of jobless. And this is more of a positive word, and this is, yeah, you know, like the two positive words are on the same side. So this is the best choice here. And finally, we have silence and noise. So this is another opposite, isn't it? Silence, noise. So what we have quiet and peace. You know, those are synonyms. synonyms, or they're not necessarily synonyms, but they're more pieces associated with quiet. And then we have baldness and hair. This is clearly the answer, because this is opposite. When somebody is bald, they don't have hair, right? And the opposite is there. Talk and whisper. I wouldn't say that this is the opposite, because whisper is a form of talking, and then sing and dance, these two go hand in hand. So this is definitely the answer. Let's look at the next question. All right, so window is to pane as book is to. The options are novel, glass, cover, and page. Okay, so what we are being asked to do is to identify the relationship between a relationship that is similar to that of a window and a pane, right? This is out because book has no relationship with glass. So let us look at a window. So a pane is a glass in a window. So let's say this is our window, right? If this is our window, this would be a pane. What does that mean then? So it means then that we are looking for a relationship between a book and something else, where the book would be like the window and the pane would be, and whatever is to be on this line would be equivalent to a pane in this example. So we say that the pane is within the window. So this is our answer. Book is the page, because windows, we can say windows are made up of pane, or there are panes, different panes in a window, just as there are different pages in a book. So page is our answer. All right, guys, so initially I wanted to prepare the full video from questions 1 to 20. Oh god, you hear the mistake. I wanted to do questions 1 to 100, but I am tired, and so I am going to take a break right now. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting this part by itself. Maybe I decide to do the 4 parts. So I would do this part, then I do other part. And please make sure that you subscribe if you're enjoying it. Subscribe and share. All right, guys.